someone a little bit smaller, uh, making his debut with Peer Pressure, the RD. I
That's
gotta
right.
say, really like his name as someone that wasn't RD in college. I just appreciate finally getting the recognition I deserve.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's like our leader now.
In ArrDee's case, it's his initials,
Yeah.
hence the name Audi. But yeah, this was when I was really excited to talk about ArrDee's debut mixtape, Peer Pressure, just because ArrDee is a very interesting but not unfamiliar case of rapid ascent into fame that is justified by the music. ArrDee first blew up January 21 with Cheeky Bars, a freestyle he posted online. And then from there, he just kept skyrocketing and kept blowing up with more songs and more features. And now he is another rapidly rising UK rap star that has only just arrived. We recently just talked about Central C. ArrDee's been making hip hop officially even less time than Central C has. And yet he's also so famous, you know? Uh, I think probably one of the best data point for ArrDee is he was on Tion Wayne's Body remix, and that Body remix, of which ArrDee had a memorable feature, a lot feature verse. That's the first UK drill song to go number one in the UK. Obviously, UK hip hop is super mainstream in the UK, but to actually have a drill joint go number one, really, I think is a sign of how far the genre has grown. And ArrDee, man, I think he backs it up with his songs. So I overall I quite enjoy Peer Pressure.
Coming into listening to RD pretty much blind. I think the only thing I knew was that he was a British, drill rapper. Um, I was blown away that this was his debut because I thought this sounded really refined. I thought he brought just a ton of energy. Like, we're going to talk about Denzel Curry a little bit later in his new album. And the energy that RD brought was what I expected from Denzel, and we did
Yeah,
not get that. And so I was like, well, at least I got it somewhere this week listening. And I don't think every song on here is an absolute like hit, but I think there's enough on here to walk away and be like, yeah, this kid's going to be a star. So
yeah,
why don't you
totally.
start off telling me what you liked or what song stood out most to you?
Yeah, I completely agree that there are songs that sound familiar, but he doesn't come across to me as a one note artist. And I think that's what's most impressive about this being his debut, because you can run up his credits up to this point. It's only a handful of songs he's put out, whether it's features or loose singles. A few of those are on this new tape. It hasn't been a long time, and he's only 19. But whether it's different, switching up his flows and kind of riding on different beats, there is, I think, impressive amount of variety that he sounds comfortable in his own skin on different kinds of songs already, which is really cool. I think for me, Flowers (parentheses) Say My Name, one of the singles, obvious highlight, of course, interpolating Destiny's Child. But the thing with RD, whether it's a song like that or it's a song like track one, Locker, which is just a straight drill banger, you just can't teach this kind of personality, this kind of bravado. And it's just so likable. It's just really great. So when he's talking about he don't bring girls flowers, but he'll give them good wood, though, you just can't help but smile about him doing some toxic ass Brent Faiyaz lyrics in the moment. It's so great because he just sells everything, and I love it. Locker track one, that sounds like a basketball team running out of the gym pump up song to me. I love the subtle wordplay on that, by the way. Like a few bars behind, he talks about boxing, Rocky, and then he makes a reference to Fury and Wilder, referencing Tyson
Yeah.
Fury and Deontay Wilder, but talking about how he was made Wilder. I was like, oh wow, that's like
Mhm.
super witty.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of cool stuff here.
Yeah, that Fury Wilder line definitely caught my ear when listening through. I actually probably my favorite track was War, the second track,
Hell yeah,
which I thought just sounded awesome. I love like the horn that is like so funky, like kind of like rising and falling throughout it, and him and is it Itch or H?
AH. Yeah, H is
AH.
the biggest white rapper in England. So that it's a really cool like Spider-Man meme moment having them link up on a track.
Yeah, that I mean, just they flowed together so well, and
Yeah.
that was just an immediate like, whew, I had to replay that the second I listened to it.
I, I also like how they juxtapose each other together because H is from Manchester, so he has like a more northern English
Mm,
accent, whereas Artie, of course, is from the very south, from Brighton. So I think they even just kind of sound cool paired against each other like that. But
yeah,
yeah, that's just a really cool track just for like the star power of it too. But it's also good.
yeah. You think, and Oliver Twist is one of the most streamed songs off of this debut. So you
Mhm.
think about these like first four, pretty undeniable. I think first four off this. What other tracks caught your ear?
Yeah, I think those are the best. I think it starts off
Yeah.
at its best for sure. I thought No Biggie was pretty solid. I thought Come and Go was all right. Come and Go is probably a good example of him doing, maybe a little slower thing, kind of dabbling in other kinds of sounds. He's not
Mhm.
exactly melodic, but he kind of acknowledges it on some of those songs. So yeah, I'd say overall, like for a debut, it definitely like really exceeded my expectations just because the kind of variety, but even like just there's just kind of I think advanced ideas for someone that's very clearly steeped in UK drill and like at his core he is a drill rapper, but I think there's a lot going on there and it's just really exciting. I can't wait for more.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one song that like stood out to me as like maybe put it back in the workshop a little longer was Pandemic,
Yeah,
which I really appreciate. Yeah, he was going for a much more like thoughtful type of track, which I really appreciate him
right.
going there.
Like
I think
lyrically,
just
yeah,
obviously the idea of like pandemic or this being like the new pandemic is just so like it's so tainted after the last 2 years. I think it's like hard to like hear someone talk about that and not just like recoil and be like, I don't want to think about pandemics any more than I have to. But I do appreciate him going there as a young artist, trying to be thoughtful as well as bringing the banger. So good for him. RD will be adding probably a song or two from this to
oh
our
yeah.
Nostalgia Best of 2022. So check that out on Spotify.